Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm an idiot and this is the internet. Today's video has come about because there have been two instances in the past week where I feel the importance of music and soundtrack is vitally important to film, TV and video games. In my opinion, it elevates any of those mediums from being good to great, if not even better than great. There's been two instances in the past week that have made me think about this. I went to see Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, last week. Although they brought back Tom Hokenberg, also known as Junkie XL, they brought him back to do the OST for Furiosa. He did the Mad Max Fury Road OST, which, in my opinion, elevates that film from being a great action film with amazing set pieces to elevating it to an excellent film, because the score complements that film so much and just elevates it to something being even better. Even though they brought him back for Furiosa, I don't feel that the music complemented the film as much as what it did in Fury Road. I was kind of actually let down by the soundtrack for Furiosa. And the second one, we had a PlayStation State of Play and Silent Hill Transmission, I think it was called, where they showed off more of the Silent Hill 2 remake. And they are bringing back the original composer who composed the music for Silent Hill 2 back in 2001 or something, 2002. They're bringing him back. His name is Akira Yamaoka, I believe. I'm sorry if I've butchered that. But they brought him back to compose the soundtrack for the remake. So fingers crossed, at least the sound design and music for the game will be on par with the original. If the voice acting and motion capture and gameplay and feel and atmosphere of the game isn't there, then hopefully at least the music is there, so we have that to be thankful for. But with these two instances, I kind of was reminded on how important soundtrack and score is to these mediums. So I'm a OST and soundtrack collector as well, and listener, as well as everything else. And I've over the years bought CDs to video game soundtracks, film soundtracks, and TV show soundtracks. So today I just wanted to go through part of that collection and show off, do a little show and tell of my video game OST and soundtrack collections. So let's get into it. We'll start off with the original Silent Hill 2 soundtrack. I bought this many years ago. I can't remember when I bought it. It wasn't initially when it came out, but it was probably maybe 10 years after. And obviously this has the original score with it as well. There's quite a few. Oh, you're not going to be on the glare, but there are quite a few tracks there. basically just going through the songs and themes of the soundtrack. A very good soundtrack that is iconic. I suppose the whole point of why they're bringing him back to do the remake is because it was absolutely iconic. Those sounds, whether it be sounds or themes, just completely kind of make Silent Hill what Silent Hill is. Another kind of like Japanese import CD that I've got is the Shadow of Colossus soundtrack. This is a game which needs no introduction. There are hundreds of videos on YouTube talking about it. It is a phenomenal game. The gameplay is great, but the soundtrack, again, for me, is what elevates the game from being great to something else. The soundtrack to this game is absolutely superb. So, I mean, if you haven't played it, and if you haven't heard it, do yourself a solid and play it, because it is fantastic. There is a HD remaster collection out there, and there is a remake on PS4 for Shadow of Colossus. So yeah, if you haven't played it, you know, it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic game and soundtrack. Another one from Team Ico is Ico, the soundtrack for Ico as well. I imagine that I probably bought this around about the same time as I bought the Shadow of Colossus one. This game isn't probably talked about with much love as Shadow of Colossus, because the mechanics are a little bit more clunky on this. I mean, they're similar in Shadow of the Colossus, but the task of escorting the companion character can get somewhat frustrating, where you kind of get like stuck on certain objects, or you fall down a hole or something, or the falling off the edge and stuff. It's just a little bit more mechanically fiddly than what Shadow Colossus is, but the soundtrack again is something that I believe adds to the game, that makes it even more. This game came out, I want to say, towards the tail end of the PS3. It was a digital only game for a while, and then they released a physical version of it. This soundtrack is phenomenal, and there's a track in it particularly that happens at a certain part of the game, and it's kind of just like everything kind of, your eyes just widen with what's going on the screen, and the swelling of the soundtrack, it just kind of elevates it more. Again, I'm going to be using that word a lot. It elevates it to being more than just a game, more than just an experience, more than just a soundtrack. It comes together, and that is Journey. If you've played it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't played it, if you can play it, go and play it. It's only about 2 hours long. It's not a massively long game, but the soundtrack is just so lovely, and it is so good. Such a good game, and such a fantastic soundtrack. The next game that I have here is the Doom 2016 soundtrack. I do want to get this on vinyl because I do. Really? I do. I don't know if there's anything particularly special about it. There is a copy version of it that's like £100 or something. I'm pretty sure that I saw like a version of it in HMV for like £30. So I need to do a little bit of investigating as to see what the differences are in those. But I think I keep on seeing the website EMP, is it? And they keep on advertising the vinyl version of this to me, and it's like £100. The soundtrack to this game just again makes the action in it just so much more. You just, yeah, I listen to this at the gym, like this, or when I did go to the gym. But when I do go to the gym, I sometimes listen to this. I gets me in the mood to rip and tear. Yeah, fantastic soundtrack. Again, probably one of the better Doom experiences because of the soundtrack. You know, you really get into it. Now the final CD soundtrack that I have is for Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. I got this simply because of the like the setting and aesthetic of the game. Is just 80s synth cheese. It's so good. So I saw this available and thought, yeah, why not grab this. It just, yeah, something nice to listen to. There are many other game soundtracks that I wish I had that going through my collection showed me that I really do need to get some more. I'd love to get the Metal Gear Solid soundtracks. I'd love to get the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack in some way, shape or form. I have looked at getting the Advent Children soundtrack as well, because there are some moments in that film that I believe is elevated because of the score. So what I'll do is I'll quickly just show off these ones, and then we're going to pivot slightly from video games. So I do have these vinyl of the Resident Evil OST. Now, I believe this is for the GameCube version of Resident Evil. I haven't opened it yet, so I haven't listened to it, but this is the artwork for it, as you can see. It is the black vinyl. I don't know if it came out in different coloured vinyls, but yeah, this is the GameCube version. There is an original, I believe this is the original 1998 Resident Evil 2 soundtrack. So this has got all of the, hopefully, it's got all of the iconic themes for the rooms and scenarios of Resident Evil 2. Again, it's still sealed, so I'm not 100% sure, but I have seen that they've done the remake of Resident Evil 2 as a vinyl, and I've watched playthroughs of that game. I haven't played it yet, and in my opinion, what lets that game down as a remake is the soundtrack. It's not as good or as iconic as the original, hence why I think in some pre-orders you could pre-order the original soundtrack to kind of overlap over the game. So if you were nostalgic for a better soundtrack, in my opinion, you could have paid extra money. I believe you can pay extra now, like £3 or £4 to download the original soundtrack. So from video games, I'm gonna quickly show you off some of my oh no, I've still got some video game ones here. I lied. Okay, so we've got 2 more left, and then we're going to go into anime. I have the Metroid Prime soundtrack here. I literally got this for one track, one theme, one song, and that is the opening theme to the game. When you reach the title screen, I thought it was fantastic. So I literally bought it for 1 track, and by the looks of it, it's got the Metroid Fusion soundtrack as well, which I did have a Game Boy Advance and an SP, and I played this game to completion, and I think I also connected it at some point. You could connect the Game Boy Advance game to your GameCube, and I believe you could download the Fusion suit, if I'm right in thinking. This is a long time ago. It's like 2001 time again. So I'm not 100% sure about that, but for some reason I believe that you could download that suit for Samus to wear in the original Prime game. But also very good. And one franchise of games that I do wish I could get more of, but I currently haven't got yet, and that is the Halo series. I would buy an Xbox and have bought an Xbox for Halo. I loved Halo Combat Evolved. Halo 2 was good. The ending, so with the ending to that, some people don't like it, and I wanted to finish the fight, but I was okay with them stopping it there. When that Sky Marshal or whatever turns to Master Chief and says, "Son, do you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?" And then Master Chief turns and goes, "Sir, finishing this fight." Jesus Christ. Perfect. For me, it was the perfect time to just end it, and I was like, I'm ready for the third one when the third one comes out. So the themes for both 1, 2, and 3. The theme for the second one with the guitar, fantastic. And then the more kind of somber, poignant, but also grandiose themes for the third one. Fantastic soundtracks. I really do need to get 2 and 3. For me, that's kind of where Halo had its highest moments. I did like Reach. I did play Reach. I didn't complete Reach. But for me, it was the original trilogy for me. Fantastic games and fantastic soundtrack. So what we're going to do now is I will show the anime type soundtracks that I've got, that I've collected over the years. We've got Pokemon the first movie. I don't know which video is going to come out first, but I did do a Pokemon-esque video quite recently, or soon to be recently. It might come out after this. I'm not sure what I'm going to do or how I've done it. But the soundtrack to, the theme to Pokemon, I kind of can still say and play in my head. But the themes for this soundtrack for this film gives me the nostalgia feels. So fantastic. And even at the end of this one, it says the Pokemon theme, which they updated and changed for the film, which I initially didn't like when I first watched it at the cinema, but the remake or the cover of the song has kind of grown on me over the years, so there's that. The best of... Sorry, it's so dusty. The best of Dragon Ball Z Volume 2, the American soundtrack. Now, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I do like the English dub and English soundtrack for Dragon Ball Z. I think it's fantastic. Bruce Faulkner just knocked it out of the park, in my opinion. And this volume of songs has the one song that I wanted, and that is the Super Saiyan transformation. It's transcended the show, in my opinion. It's fantastic. There is another volume of this that I wanted with I can't remember if it's Super Saiyan Vegeta or if it's just Vegeta's theme, but if you know, you know. They play it towards the end of the Cell battle when Vegeta lets off that, I'm not sure what it is, if it's a final flash or if it's just a normal energy blast, when Cell's fighting Gohan and Goku shouts, "Now's your chance." When that music kicks in, fire. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Loved it. one of my favourite franchises, anime franchises, is Ghost in the Shell. The soundtrack to the original film is iconic. I don't actually think I have that. But the in the early 2000s, Production IG is the company that make Ghost in the Shell, made Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. Was a series, an anime series that came out, and the soundtrack to that show is also fantastic. The soundtrack to both seasons of that show is fantastic, and here I have, I believe, all 3 volumes of that show. Now, a few years after I got these became very expensive to find. I don't think that is, and with the rise of iTunes and Spotify, you could probably just find these to play these. But I mean, to get a physical copy of the soundtracks is obviously the whole point of my channel and my like. I also got the Solid State Society soundtrack, which was kind of the movie that came out after the show. They only did 2 seasons of the show, and then they came out with this film. This is a CD single of, I believe, the original theme of the show, by Yoko Kanno, if that's how you pronounce it. Sorry if it isn't. But yeah, again, great intro to a theme song. Great intro to a great series. And then the last OSTs that I have for this franchise is the Arise soundtracks. After a few years after the Standalone Complex, they Production IG did kind of like a prequel series to Ghost in the Shell called Ghost in the Shell Arise. Yeah, I believe this is the soundtracks for both editions that came out, because I think in the UK we got like episode parts 1 and 2 on one disc, and then parts 3 and 4 on another disc. So I imagine that's kind of what this is doing. I can't quite remember in regards to the layout of the songs, but again, anything Ghost in the Shell, I feel that they knock it out of the park. There's a trailer that IGN shared almost 10 years ago for Ghost in the Shell, the movie, the new movie, and there's an artist called Ramzoid, and he did a song called Grasslands, and that track is absolutely fantastic and goes really, really well with that trailer. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's fantastic, in my opinion. And to finish off this video, I'm going to slowly transition into film soundtracks. Now, I'll do a separate video at some point of the rest of my film soundtracks, because it's a rather large stack. But these 3 here are video game film soundtracks. So, again, there's probably more that I probably want on my like Amazon wishlist or eBay wishlist, but I just haven't got around to getting. But the 3 that I do have are the Mortal Kombat soundtrack from 1995. This again is pretty much, I own this literally for that theme tune, that opening track, where that guy shouts Mortal Kombat, and then it all kind of just kicks off from there. It is fantastic, and in my opinion, up until recently with the likes of The Last of Us HBO show and Fallout and all of that. This was, in my opinion, the best, if not the best, video game adaptation to film adaptation that there was. It's this film and the Silent Hill movie. To me, are the best adaptations that has happened to video games. This is cheesy fun. It's absolutely a guilty pleasure of mine. The soundtrack is a time capsule of the time, and Silent Hill is a close second. This film beats it out only because I feel that they fumbled the ending to the Silent Hill movie. But yeah, those two films, in my opinion, are the best video game film adaptations that exist. We also have the original Resident Evil soundtrack. This has original score by Marilyn Manson. Yes, if you didn't know that the themes that play in this film, which are quite good and quite unnerving and scary, all the music played in the film is done by Marilyn Manson. And then there is 15 tracks of songs inspired and in the Resident Evil movie itself. So probably at the end credits, you've got My Plague with Slipknot, and then you've got a few others, which again, I'm a metal fan, I'm a rock fan, so this with Resident Evil was it in the early 2000s, and then the fact that it's got 4 tracks from the film, which again make that film better, but it doesn't save it from not being a good adaptation of the games. I do enjoy the films, just I don't love them. The first 2 I probably like the most, and then I do have a real big soft spot for Retribution, because that is got the most characters in it. It's got Jill, it's got Ada, it's got Leon, it's got Barry, and also it brings back a number of characters from the rest of the series. So for some reason I really dig Retribution, even though again it's not a great film, it's not a great Resident Evil film, but the soundtrack to this film is the best soundtrack in my opinion of the series, even though Killswitch Engage are on the second one, and they're my favourite band. This one is the best, and this one is probably the film that I've watched the least and the soundtrack that I've listened to the least, but for the whole feel of the film, it's the Assassin's Creed OST. I can't really talk about this as much because I've only watched the film once. I didn't really kind of love it, but it was just something that I probably found for a few pounds and was going through an Assassin's Creed phase at the time. So there's that. So that is the video game to film soundtracks that I've got. That is the anime soundtracks that I've got and the gaming soundtracks that I've got. I will do 2 other parts to this video at some point in the future, and they will be film soundtracks and TV show soundtracks, because I have a lot of both of those, so we will go through those as well. But yes, that is part 1 of a 3-part video of my soundtrack collection that, again, I believe elevates to certain degrees, certain percentages, the films, or in this case, TV shows, films and games, to being something more than just great, but being excellent. So, yeah, again, I'm not very good at ending these videos. What do you think of the ones that I've got and what I've said. What are some of your favourite soundtracks from games? Let's just keep it at games for this video, and then we can do films and TV in the following videos and the upcoming videos. So what are some of your favourite video game soundtracks from over the years? Comment down below and let me know. And as always, you will see me again soon. Thank you and goodbye.